Welcome to Money Conversations, a weekly experiment in money exploration rather than money solutions. These are mini interviews with all kinds of people, all about where they are at with money. I'm Megan Potter, and this week's mini money interview is with Kasey. Hi, Kasey.
Hi.
Thank you for being willing to be interviewed.
Oh, thank you. I'm excited.
So these money conversations are questions that are meant to be answered kind of from your subconscious. And so I haven't pre-prepped Kasey. She hasn't seen any of the questions. She doesn't know what we're going to talk about. I just want you to give me the first answer that kind of rises up within you and see where that goes.
Okay.
You okay?
Sure.
Okay. If I say money, you say...
Please.
If I say money, you feel...
Oh, grasping, I think would be the word for it. Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
And that kind of goes with your word. It informs the energy of the word.
Yes.
Yeah. What I really want from money is...
Freedom.
One significant money memory or story. So tell us a moment that comes up, or something you think, when I talk about your relationship with money, what is the memory or story that rises up?
I know this story. I don't know the memory that it's tied to. The story is people who have a lot of money do really bad things. So they have gotten that money through doing something harmful to the planet, harmful to other people, dishonesty. And so only if you want to live a good and, balanced life and be a good human being, you're not going to end up with a lot of money. I was raised Catholic, so it's possible that's where it comes from.
Well, it's really interesting because money is like a really complicated subject on an energetic or an emotional basis. And we get some of our money story and our money relationship from our own experiences and our own actual memories. But some of them are inherited from our parents. Some of them are inherited culturally, like from the sphere we live in, and some of them are like ancestral or karmic, right? So a lot of things tie into that. So that's interesting that that's what you remember about it.
There was they came up this morning, and that was, I had left the house unlocked. We often do that. We live in a very small town. Very small, and we're having some work done, so I needed to just leave it that way. But somebody drove past the house as I was loading Belle up into the car, and that particular car happens to be a nice car. And I was thinking, wow, I really should just go back and lock it and then leave the key with our landlord who lives next door. And as I was driving, I didn't do that. And as I was driving through town, I realized I have this other story, which is if you do accumulate a lot of things, they will be taken from you. So if you have nice things, people will see you have those nice things and go to take them. And we did have a house that was broken into. Rona was about 2, so about 5 years ago. Yeah. And they stole, we didn't actually have that much nice stuff. So
but isn't
they stole
that
our TVs
interesting?
And our Blu-rays.
Because you didn't have stuff when you were stolen, but you still associate being robbed with having stuff, even though your actual experience of it was not that.
Yeah, we had a flat screen TV that you could see from outside.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, oh, you should have kept your blinds closed so that people wouldn't see that you had that. So I realized that from that experience, I also took okay, if you do somehow manage to do something good that gets you money, great, hide it.
Yeah. Yeah, but so that's actually then connected to your first story, because your first story comes from the cultural, like, financial place that your culture shares, like the people who surround you share. And so they reinforce that idea that to have money is to not be good, to have to hide it, right? Like, so that shows that that whole story is not actually coming directly from you, but from your immediate community, your financial community, right?
Interesting. Yeah. I hadn't connected the two. So,
Yeah, I was reading something that was talking about how if you grow up without a lot of money, if you're like poor or middle class, and you talk to other people of that class about plans to do something, right? Like, so the example given in what I was reading was talking about if you decide you want to buy a house on a lakeshore and make it into a rental property. If you tell other people within your same kind of baseline community where you come from, they'll be like, "Oh my God, that's so much work. What if your tenants destroy it? Are you sure you want to do that? What if the property values fall?" But if you tell someone who's rich, like who grew up with money and that from that world, what they'll say is, "Well, do you have a good management company in mind? Have you looked at these tax breaks? Do you want me to refer you to an accountant? That might help," right? And literally how our community reinforces our place and our beliefs to help hold us in where we are.
interesting.
Right? But would you have gotten the same response from neighbors in a wealthier neighborhood?
Probably not.
Right? They wouldn't have blamed you. They would have
Yep.
blamed someone else.
The criminals.
Yeah,
People broke in.
wild notion.
Yeah. I mean, there was also a lot about, you know, that particular neighborhood was very sort of middle class, lower middle class.
Yeah,
But it's gentrifying, and so there was also this added like, well, we should just expect this as
right.
part of gentrifying the neighborhood, and we were renting it. We didn't even own the house, and it was just kind of all of you all are moving in, you professionals, and it was just kind of it was absolutely our fault, not just that we had displayed it, but also that we were victimizing somebody, and so that sort of also fed into the,
Yeah,
well, clearly I've done a bad thing with my money.
right. Interesting. How often do you pay attention to your money?
um, I just started to, because my husband pays all of the bills, except for I have two that are my accounts, and I pay those. But otherwise, I don't even. I noticed I don't look at the bill when we go out to eat.
Hmm.
He always pays it. I mean, we share money, so it's kind of ridiculous because it's my money too. um, I don't look at the bills unless I need to. I won't even open them. Um, so I don't. But I'm aware now that I
Yeah.
don't.
Do you know why you don't?
Um, we had a lot of years where it was paycheck to paycheck, and it was really hard, and you're trying to figure out which one do I pay and which one do I not pay. But actually, I don't even know if that's fair because I don't think I've ever been particularly responsible with it, ever.
Interesting. What's the payoff for not paying attention?
I suppose I can pretend I have more than I do.
Oh. And what's the price you pay?
Well, lack of freedom, because then I'm the opposite of what I actually want, because then I'm stuck paying off these things.
Right. Do you think that, um, so you, do you think that not actually knowing how much you have and how much is, I mean, I've seen that work to the detriment in both ways, that sometimes you have more and you could have more freedom, but you don't know because you're not looking, and as well as to spending more than what you have. And one of the things that I find usually happens is that you you spend your freedom on things you wouldn't normally have if you'd been paying attention. Like you could have gone on this trip if you hadn't bought 3 Starbucks a day, right?
Yeah.
But because you don't pay attention to your money, you don't want to think about it, that's what happens. Do you see that happening?
Yes. Yeah.
Interesting. So freedom will come when you pay attention to your money?
I suppose so. I think I also just have this belief that it's always going to be a struggle and it's always going to be hard.
Mm.
And when we do get money, it seems to disappear. It's probably disappearing because I'm not paying attention. But we'll just have these freak things come
Yeah.
up where you could not have predicted it. And then it's like, wow, that was a whole lot of money that came in the door and then it just went right out.
Yeah.
And so I think there's a certain sense of helplessness, if I'm being honest about it, where it's like, why even bother looking? Because it's never going to get better.
But do you think, what if the whole conversation was connected? What if the beginning of the conversation, the story, if you have a lot of money, then you're not a good person anymore. And when money comes in large amounts, it leaves by accidents, are part of the same storyline.
Yeah, I could see that.
Interesting. Um, so I really want to thank you for being willing to sit in the hot seat and let us see into your relationship with money. And if those of you watching want to join in the conversation with and about money, then you can comment on this video, you can share it, you can subscribe, or you can raise your hand and take Kasey's place in the hot seat and let me interview you for your own money conversation. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you.